Hey everyone, welcome back to Marketing with AI. I am Rohit Shetty, and today we are diving into one of the most fascinating frontiers of digital strategy right now, AI influencers. This space isn't just about flashy avatars or virtual celebrities, it's about how data, trust, and regulation are reshaping influence itself. So let's break this down and talk about the strategic and legal layers brands need to understand. Let's start with the big insight: consumer polarization. There's this huge generational divide in trust when it comes to AI endorsements. Overall, trust is still low, around 15%, but here's what really jumps out. Gen Z shows 46% more interest in AI influencers than older groups. That's massive. But here's the problem. Most frameworks treat this divide like hashtag AD risk something to mitigate with more transparency. I think that's the wrong way to look at it. We're not supposed to just manage polarization. We need to leverage it. If almost half of Gen Z is already receptive to AI driven content, why dilute our messaging just to appease hashtag AD skeptical majority? That 46% is your core segmentation insight. So instead of treating low trust as hashtag AD universal issue, we should use Gen Z's high interest as hashtag AD mandatory targeting tool. Now, the strategic suggestion is pretty direct: mandate campaign segmentation based on data. If your data shows that Gen Z resonates more with virtual personas like Lil Miquela, then use those personas exclusively for high digital literacy audiences, trend driven, aspirational content, that sort of thing. But yes, fair point. What about older audiences? Are we leaving future growth on the table by focusing only on the young? Here's how I see it. Right now, ROI is concentrated in younger segments. For industries where credibility is crucial, like finance or healthcare, human influencers still need to lead. At least until that trust number moves significantly above 15%. Another fascinating point in the material is the economic side. Humans earn an average of around $79,000 per campaign, while AI influencers hover at about $1,700. That tells us two things. Human influence still drives immediate engagement, but AI offers strategic control, scalability, and long-term IP value. Take Lil Miquela again, 10 million in 2023 as wholly owned IP. That's not just hashtag a demarketing asset. That's an owned brand property. And here's where the legal and operational advantage comes in. Most discussions separate the efficiency of AI from the complexity of managing human talent. I think that's hashtag a D mistake. We need to quantify that gap formally. I call it contractual risk offset. Basically, brands should calculate the operational and financial savings that come from not having to deal with human specific legal headaches, morals clauses, exclusivity negotiations, child labor, compliance, the whole mess. Let's be real. AI doesn't get drunk at hashtag AD Super Bowl party, doesn't violate morals clauses, and doesn't require Coogan law compliance. That's hashtag AD huge de-risking advantage. So if we're evaluating ROI purely on media value, we're missing the bigger story. AI assets don't just save money, they remove legal exposure. Okay, let's shift to regulation. The framework's compliance recommendations are sound acknowledging FTC endorsement guidelines, double disclosures for sponsorship and AI generation, all that. But it still treats compliance generically. What's missing is hashtag AD tiered disclosure strategy based on claim sensitivity. For example, if AI content touches financial or health related products, simple hashtags like AD or AI art aren't enough. That's where stricter SEC rules kick in. Think back to the Kim Kardashian crypto case. She used ARD, but it still violated anti touting laws because she didn't disclose the amount she was paid, which was $250,000. That's the level of specificity required. So, for high risk sectors, finance, securities, healthcare, brands need to go beyond FTC basics. Disclose the nature, source, and exact amount of consideration received. And one more critical point: AI influencers can't physically test or experience products. That must be clearly stated as hashtag AD disclaimer in any related content. It's hashtag AD small step, but it builds credibility and helps avoid deceptive practice claims. So, what's the takeaway here? Let's summarize the action points. First, stop viewing low trust as hashtag AD universal liability. Use that Gen Z enthusiasm as hashtag AD segmentation tool. Second, formally calculate the contractual risk offset, quantify the operational, financial, and reputational savings AI delivers compared to managing human influencers. And third, elevate your disclosure framework. Implement tiered regulatory compliance that adjusts based on claim, risk, and industry type. That's how you turn an emerging AI influencer model from hashtag AD compliance headache into hashtag AD full fledged strategic asset. I'll be breaking down real campaign case studies using this framework in upcoming episodes. So make sure you follow Marketing with AI wherever you're listening. Thanks for tuning in. I'm Rohit Shetty, and this was Marketing with AI.